My younger sister's nothing but a doorkeeper. Who'd even be interested in her? She said with a smirk. Everyone burst out laughing. My mother added, she's the shame of this family. The man getting married, an officer, got to his feet, looked over at me, and said, actually, she's my mom froze. My sister fell apart. Hey, Reddit. I'm Leia, 28F, and I think this is the first time I've openly admitted it, but I don't believe my family has ever truly loved me. Not like they adored her. My older sister, Marissa, 31F, has always been the center of attention in our household. She was the firstborn, the loud one, the attractive one, the child who could do no wrong. From the time she was 5 and forced me to trade birthday cupcakes because she disliked the frosting on hers, everyone just kind of followed her lead. She had this knack for commanding attention like royalty. Our parents, especially our mom, Deidre, acted like her devoted followers. I was the quiet one, the bookworm, the kid who stayed up studying and folded laundry without being asked. No outbursts, no attitude, but no recognition either. If I earned straight A's, the response was always something like, "That's nice, sweetie." Marissa could get a C, cry, and Mom would storm into the school demanding a retest. By middle school, I had given up trying. I realized that in our home, attention came from being loud, dramatic, or troublesome, and I was none of those. I had interests, space, astronomy, puzzles, but no one ever asked. If I brought up something exciting, Marissa would yawn or say it was odd, and Mom would switch topics. When I turned 17, I enlisted in the military. I didn't tell anyone until a month before I was set to leave. I can still recall Mom's reaction, as if I'd said I was joining a circus. "What on earth are you going to do in the military? Be a secretary?" Dad said it was just a phase. Marissa laughed and predicted I'd be back home within 2 months. I stayed for 6 years. I started in base security before moving into operations. Eventually, I was assigned to a secure facility as part of a contractor team. I managed access control, threat mitigation, and transport logistics. Yes, that included guarding specific areas. But it wasn't just standing at a gate and checking IDs. It was monitoring patterns, looking for red flags, and working with internal security. I took pride in my work, but to them, I was just the gatekeeper. I came home for Christmas after 4 years away. Marissa was already engaged to this guy, Landon, another military man, an Army major. Clean-cut and sharp, Mom was practically planning their kids' futures. She kept telling everyone how Marissa had finally snagged someone significant, someone in uniform, right? When she said that, she looked directly at me. I wore my uniform that day, mainly out of practicality since I was flying out again that night. But to them, I was still the disappointment, the overlooked sister, the shame in the family portrait. When they learned I had clearance access to a federal site, they laughed. "What? You stand at the gate of a warehouse and swipe a badge?" Marissa smirked while sipping wine. Mom chuckled and added, "Sweetheart, you don't have to pretend it's something special. Some of us have real careers, you know." She was referring to Marissa, who had floundered through 3 failed businesses in 5 years and now ran a wedding planning Instagram account filled with stock photos. Still, I held my tongue. I hadn't come home to argue. Then came the wedding. I didn't want to go. I genuinely didn't. But the invitation included a handwritten note from my dad, one of the rare times he reached out directly. It simply said, "Please be there. You're still her sister." So I packed my best civilian dress uniform, black blazer, slacks, and a neat blouse. I arrived early, helped a lost grandma find her seat, and even offered to fix the flower arch that was collapsing. No one thanked me. At the reception, I was seated at the very back next to 2 kids who kept tossing peas and an aunt I barely knew. Marissa's bridal table was at the front, shining under a spotlight. I was fine being invisible. I had been invisible my entire life until she made me visible. It happened during the toasts. Landon's best man gave a solid speech. Then Marissa stood up, wine glass in hand, glowing like a showgirl, and looked straight at me. The room fell silent. And I want to thank my little sister Leia for making the journey from wherever it is. She guards a door. Seriously, she's a gatekeeper. Who would want her? Laughter erupted. Real loud laughter. I felt the room close in around me, and then my mother raised her glass too. She's the disgrace of this family. It's tragic, really. More laughter. My chest tightened. My face flushed. I blinked rapidly, trying to prevent tears from ruining my makeup. I looked down at my plate, struggling to breathe through the humiliation. The table next to me was filled with teenagers. One of them whispered to another and giggled. I wanted to leave. I actually stood up, but then I heard a chair scrape loudly from the front. Landon stood. Marissa's smile vanished. Everyone quieted down. Landon walked slowly across the dance floor and stopped right beside me. He didn't say anything at first, then placed a hand gently on my shoulder and faced the entire room. Actually, she's. What Landon said next made my mom freeze. And Marissa? She crumpled to the floor. Actually, she's the reason I ever made it home. Landon's voice was calm and steady, but it hit like a thunderclap. The room went dead silent. I stood there frozen, unsure if I was still breathing. My palms felt cold. My mom blinked rapidly, as if she couldn't believe what she had just heard. Landon turned fully toward the crowd, stepping away from me slightly so everyone could see his face. You want to know who Leah is? You all keep calling her a gatekeeper like it's something to ridicule, like standing between danger and safety is something shameful. His voice grew stronger. Leah was stationed at Kandahar when I was deployed there. I was part of an intel team moving through a compromised zone. We got ambushed. We lost 3 men in 10 minutes. I got hit with shrapnel in the shoulder, barely breathing. I was half conscious, slipping in and out, just praying someone would get us out. She coordinated the extraction. She pulled 2 of my teammates out while under fire. She got me on that chopper when everyone else had written me off. She didn't just save my life. She saved my family from receiving a folded flag and a condolence call. Gasps rippled through the room. And now, Landon continued, you're all sitting here laughing at her, shaming her. You think you're better because you dress up in this fancy ballroom and filter your lives for social media. He turned to Marissa, who was still standing red-faced, eyes wide as if she couldn't process the words. I never wanted this wedding. I went along with it because I was trying to force myself to feel something that wasn't real. Now I see it was all about appearance. You didn't love me. You loved the rank, the idea of being a soldier's wife, but the woman who truly knows what it means to serve? You laughed in her face. Then he looked at me again. I should have been honest with you months ago, Leah. You mattered to me long before today. I just didn't know how to face it. But I can't let this room disrespect the bravest woman I've ever known. He took a step closer and extended his hand. Let's go. I stood there, stunned. My ears were ringing. People were whispering, turning in their seats. Behind us, I heard my mother's wine glass crash to the floor, followed by a gasp. I turned just in time to see her slump in her chair, pale and speechless. Her hand trembled slightly as she tried to sit upright, but her face was frozen. She didn't faint, at least not exactly, but she looked like someone had yanked the rug out from under her entire worldview. And Marissa? She took one wobbly step forward in her heels and collapsed, literally. Her knees buckled, and she hit the polished floor with a shriek, her bridal gown puffing around her like a deflated cloud. There was chaos and screams. Someone called her name. Bridesmaids rushed in, but I didn't move. Landon kept his hand extended, waiting, not forcing. And in that moment, I realized something. I didn't need him to rescue me. I wasn't the girl in the corner anymore. I didn't have to plead for respect from people who had deemed me worthless long ago. But I wanted to choose myself, so I took his hand. We walked out, not in a hurry, just together. Calm, like 2 people stepping away from the noise and into clarity. We didn't run off. We didn't kiss on the lawn like something from a drama movie. We got into my rental car, sat in silence, and then he looked over and asked, "You okay?" For the first time in years, I actually considered it. I nodded. Yeah, I think I am. In the days that followed, the fallout was immense. My mom tried to call me 6 times. I didn't pick up. She sent a text that read, "You ruined your sister's wedding." Then another one 2 hours later that said, "You should be ashamed." I didn't respond. My dad reached out too, saying he didn't know Landon felt that way and that he just wanted peace in the family. I told him I was tired of trying to maintain peace when no one ever fought for me. Marissa didn't get in touch at all. She went silent on social media for weeks, and when she returned, she wasn't wearing her ring in any photos. Word spread that Landon had officially ended the engagement the next day and sent all the gifts back. She attempted to post about being betrayed by family, but no one knew what had really happened since the guests had heard Landon's speech with their own ears. Some even shared clips online. And let me tell you, the comments were not kind to her. As for me and Landon, we took things slow. He gave me space. I appreciated that he didn't try to make our relationship about some grand rebound. We had real conversations and real silence too. Not every day was cinematic, but every day felt genuine. A few months later, I was reassigned to a new post. He came to help me move. While lifting a box into the back seat, he smiled at me and said, "You know, you're the first person who made me want to stand up in a room and risk everything." I smiled back. "Funny, you're the first person who made me believe I never had to." I don't talk to my mom anymore. She still sends snarky emails, pretending she doesn't know what she did. I've also gone low contact with Marissa, not out of revenge, but because I finally understand that it was never my role to beg for love. Some people will never recognize your worth, and that's okay. Sometimes the moment they laugh at you is the moment everything starts to shift. Because that night, the girl they mocked as a gatekeeper walked out of their lives with her head held high and never looked back.